Marcus Holden. Number 13, Ryan Southern. Number 14, Stephen Hamilton. And number 15, Glenn Bryce. Replacements tonight for Stirling Wolves. Number 16, Sam Rainey. Number 17, Adam Wood. Number 18, George Rees. Number 19, James Pow. Number 20, Sean McDonald. Number 21, Eric Davey. Number 22, Craig Jardin. And number 23, Finlay Callahan. A big thank you to our main sponsors once again this evening. We are Nike, Kit Walker, Kilgannon Motors, University of Stirling Sports, Belhaven Breweries, Johnson Carmichael, Douglas Park BMW, JM Architects, and also ESP Physio. And of course a special mention as well to our main sponsor here at Stirling Wolves, Wolf Craig. And now for a special performance pre-match tonight, please welcome the CSU cheerleaders.
Good evening, everybody. It is round 3 of the FOSROC Super Series Sprints, and tonight we're at one of the most picturesque rugby venues in the country. Bridgehaugh bathed in spring sunshine in the shadow of the Wallace Monument and the cobbles of Stirling Castle. It is here by the sites of the famous Battle of Stirling Bridge that Stirling Wolves and Glasgow Warriors A will lock horns. Narratives aplenty, internationals on show, and beautiful conditions setting the Bridgehaugh backdrop. Well, tonight's team selections are very interesting indeed, chiefly because of the vast crossover in players between the two squads. Gregor Hiddleston typifies that intimacy. Incredibly, he played for both these teams in round 2. He's chosen by the Warriors today, so Rayner Kennedy captain Stirling at hooker. Young age grade forwards Rory Hart and Jake Spurway come into the back 5. And co-captain Connor Gordon takes on big brother Tom in a feisty open-side flanker showdown. In the back, Cypriot international Marcus Holden shifts from 10 to 12, meaning former Southern Knights skipper Craig Jackson is named at pivot. A very experienced playmaking combination in there, and a familiar face at fullback too, with former Warrior Glenn Bryce back from his sojourns in Los Angeles and Dubai and playing for his local franchise. No fewer than 6 current or former Wolves in the Glasgow starting 15. Hooker Hiddleston, one of the most impressive performers for Stirling so far, but as I say, wearing the colours of his primary employer tonight. Murphy Walker is a full Scotland cap, and there's professional nous aplenty, with Gordon, Brown and Miller forming a seriously explosive back row. Scrum half Finlay Burgess and winger Logan Jarvie, both members of the Stirling squad, but selected by the pro side tonight. Andy Stirrett comes in at 12, and Christian Townsend moves from fullback to fly half as Argentine international Facundo Cordero plays his first game in Scotland. Intrigue as well on the bench, by the way, because Stirling Wolves assistant coach Sean Kennedy, still a pro player with Glasgow, lining up against the team he coaches as a Warriors A substitute. So plenty to get our teeth stuck into as round 3 of the Super Series Sprint gets underway, and it's great to have the company once more of the former Scotland wing Lee Jones to guide us through it. Lee, where do you see the pivotal areas in this one?
As you said, Jamie, there's lots of interesting narratives, and I think you look at the power of this Glasgow pack and the experience that they've got against a Stirling side who, as always, are proud to play at home. They've been direct and physical, as Eddie Pollock has said, in the last 2 weeks. And you've got a young Glasgow backline as well, so it's another interesting clash. There's loads of narratives across the board, and it'll be interesting to see how this one kicks off.
It's great to see the stand and the footpaths packed out here at Bridgehaugh. The Stirling County club supporters, the Stirling Wolves followers in the Super 6 and Super Series have turned out in their numbers, and they are ready to herald the arrival of Rayner Kennedy and his troops. Ali Miller, one of the more experienced members of the Warriors A team tonight, a try scorer last weekend. But here come the home sides. Rayner Kennedy and Marcus Holden leading the charge for the Wolves as they look to back up their win over Boroughmuir Bears, and a positive performance against the Ayrshire Bulls in round 2 with what would be a sterling accomplishment by scalping their elite level opposition tonight. The sun beginning to set in Stirling, and overseeing tonight's encounter will be David Sutherland, a qualified dentist from Hamilton, looking after teeth and mouths when not overseeing scrums and mauls. Perfect man to have on hand if anybody loses a tooth tonight. We're almost ready to go. The ball being presented by a couple of the local school pupils who deliver it into the safe embrace of Craig Jackson, one of the wiliest customers, strutting his stuff in this competition. And it will be the Wolves and their season pivot to get us off and running. A gorgeous backdrop in central Scotland. A bumper Super Series Sprint clash to savour. And the deep kick-off midfielder already by Minio Bongidrao. And Glasgow Warriors A will look to exit their 22 through Townsend, shovelled on neatly by Ben Salmon. Facundo Cordero, the Argentine international, signed till the end of the season a couple of months ago by Glasgow, but this is his first taste of rugby in Scotland owing to a hamstring problem. And the Warriors running out from deep, and Bongidrao wasn't due to be starting tonight, but parachuted in late. Teenager of Fijian origin. Hiddleston carrying hard into his Stirling Wolves teammates. Strength from Salmon. Oh, Stirling Wolves over that ball though, and they win the Jackal penalty.
Too white, first arriving player.
Real early evidence of Glasgow looking to play, small tip-ons. There's a couple of times it looks like there was space on those edges, but Stirling have managed to defend it well, and rightly so, earned a penalty. Should be in kickable range in front of the post here.
Just wait up. Maybe later.
Marcus Holden, Cypriot international, played his rugby all over the world, born and raised in New Zealand, played professionally in France and Wales, been with Stirling for a good few years now. And Holden steers it between the uprights. First blood Stirling Wolves.
Listen, give us 2 seconds, let me fix these comms. Yeah. Right lads, these comms are off. Yeah. Well, there you go. Time back on you, sorry boys.
Townsend with that shot in restart, and met incredibly hard was Connor Gordon. Might have been brother Tom, stirring some fraternal love. Benedict Rax, one of the biggest carriers in this Stirling Wolves pack, another who hails from New Zealand.
Ball is available, leave it, 8, leave it. Ball is available.
Kyle McGee feeding Captain Kennedy.
Tackle!
Brother of former Scotland women's international Megan, propped with distinction for the national team. It's an awkward one, but Holden has safe hands and a big boot. Fabulous take from Christian Townsend. And now Facundo Cordero, broken field for the sprightly fullback, skirting around Gordon, looking for supports, finding Logan Jarvie. Hiddleston, Townsend out the back, into Max Williamson, another who is drafted out to the Wolves this season from the pro set-up. Salmon to Ross McKnight, another Stirling boy, a huge horse of a man at that. Hiddleston. Burgess, Townsend, Samuel, Gregor Brown to Bongidrao. Suspicious looking pass, but well taken in by teenager Jarvie. Just 18 years of age, Logan Jarvie. Been a Stirling County man since 2017. Good carry from Samuel. Townsend, Hiddleston. Numbers here for the Warriors. Ali Miller, the Sevens international. One of the more impressive performers against Boroughmuir Bears last weekend. Stirling Wolves coming piling through and sacking Burgess, ragdolling Burgess.
Back 6, back 8, thank you. Back.
Warriors just about recycle. Walker, Dundonian with a little show and rumble. Burgess goes blind. McKnight, Marcus Holden meets his teammate hard. Gregor Brown, man of the match at Megatland. Burgess, Townsend. Still no way through for Glasgow. This is solid Stirling Wolves defence. Williamson, Townsend. Like that defence crack now. Salmon gallops through a space. Wonderful feet from Salmon. Tracked back by Hamilton and by Jackson. Tackle made by Glenn Bryce in the end.
Do not play the 9.
The Warriors into this Stirling red zone for the first time. Hiddleston with the charge. Burgess, Townsend, Bongi Drau out the back. Cordero shifted that on nicely to Tom Gordon. Plenty of professional experience in that Warriors back row. Gordon pushing hard for selection in Glasgow's knockout games in the coming weeks. Burgess again, front foot ball. Williamson. Brown on his shoulder. Warriors have a freebie here. Townsend stepping back into the traffic.
Now you have penalty advantage.
Hiddleston again. Head down, barrelling forward. Glasgow continue to knock at the door, well into double figures, the phase count now. This is Salmon, this is Jarvie. McKnight skirts up the outside. McKnight flings it back in. And he really didn't need to, because he was heading for the try line. His flamboyant offload goes forwards. And David Sutherland brings them back for the penalty.
Just give us the mark.
I'd love to see how many phases Glasgow Warriors put together. They held the ball with great patience, and for the most part the Stirling defence held firm. Glasgow going width to width, using that short side a lot just to keep the defence honest. And it was great work. Logan Jarvie off the right side wing onto the shoulder, which almost created a scoring opportunity there with Ross McKnight. They could have put that one away, I feel, but impressive patience from Glasgow in the opening exchanges.
Glasgow go for the corner, looking for the evening's first try.
And early and set, not two receivers. Get in or out.
David Sutherland.
Ball, please, Willie.
Barking the orders.
Okay, time off.
We don't have a match ball for the time being.
It's coming in now.
Should Ross McKnight have kept a hold of that ball? When you're 6'5" at full tilt, you're hard to stop from that distance.
I think he almost got caught in between. I think he had to back himself to. Arguably he could have scored. It was tough to see from up here, but the length of the man, I feel he could have almost got across the line there, or I think the early pass was on back inside to Logan Jarvie on the 1-2. But there was a chance spurned, I think.
Samuel collects the Glasgow A lineouts. Stirling hold them at bay for now. Now they've got to play. Hiddleston commanded to play. He does belatedly. Burgess has to move it wide to Bongi Drau. Marcus Holden gets his paws on him. Southern and Grant in there too. And it will be a Stirling Wolves scrum. And after all those phases and all that Glasgow attack, the Stirling threshold remains unbreached.
You see the body language here from the Stirling players. That's a big win. We're 7.5 minutes into the game, but we can see the physicality both sides of the ball. First of all, Glasgow are trying to hold Stirling up as they're exiting, slow that ball down, and on the other side Stirling just putting their tackles in. There's physicality. They're trying to hold players up. We're trying to slow ball down, and there's some big hits so far.
8 minutes in, we have the first scrum of the night.
Bind.
Jamie Drummond packing down against Lithuanian international Marius Tomasaitis. Murphy Walker up against Liam Quorm on this near side. It's Grant who breaks away. Townsend does well to halt him.
That's you, Six. That's you.
Both these teams sitting on 5 points in the Super Series Sprint table. Both enjoying a bonus point win and a loss with 0 points. And that from McGee is a fantastic pressure relieving box kick.
That's a great box kick from McGee. When you're exiting there, you tend to be looking at, if you can get that ball over the halfway line, you can take that as a win. It relieves pressure. Yes, it turns over possession, but it just gets you out that area of the field where Warriors are really able to apply defensive pressure.
Former Scotland internationals Pete Horne and Al Dickinson in charge of the A team. Pete Horne in particular has had a meteoric rise as a coach. He's always an incredibly hungry and driven and diligent man as a player. He's been in with Gregor Townsend helping the Scotland team in recent months as well. And Eddie Pollock, the stalwart of these parts, former Scotland age grade coach, taking interim charge of the Wolves after Ben Cairns swapped Bridgehaugh for Goldenacre and Heriots for this season.
Somebody's getting something.
There are a few prettier parts of Scotland in which to play not just rugby but any sports. The Ochilds rolling in the background. It is, as you can see, a blustery evening, taking the edge off the spring sunshine, but still fabulous conditions for a game of rugby at any level. Townsend to Tom Gordon. Bang, Benedict Grant brings down his fellow back row. Williamson, good delay on the pass to Townsend. Has to tuck and run into Jake Spurway. Burgess, Brown, Hiddleston.
No way, that's you.
Real depth in that hooker position at age grade level for Scotland. Corey Tate and Patrick Harrison a little older. Burgess, lovely feet, good hands too to Bongi Drao. Isolated, Stirling over the ball. Stirling win the penalty.
7, first arriving player.
And it's Connor Gordon, rather than Tom, who's making the biggest impact at breakdown time.
Tom Gordon with a big carry off the line out, and a few phases later we've got Connor Gordon in with a steal. This game's set up, the way it's panned out so far, the back rows will be relishing this, you know, an experienced back row for Warriors as the ball's kept in play.
Yeah, Stirling Wolves missing touch, that could be costly because Facundo Cordero is off on a mazy run. Stirling Wolves can ill afford to pass up the opportunity to gain a foothold in the Glasgow 22. So far they are defending very resolutely indeed. Hiddleston. Burgess gets right under that box kick. Grant retreating, leaves it for a teammate. Well fielded in the air. Holden coming around the corner.
Tackle, knee on the ground. Tackle release,
Holden
knee on the ground.
just does enough to fight a right knee onto the grass, force the players to release. Taken on now by Liam Quorm. McGee, Jackson, only had a touch in this opening quarter. Townsend takes. And Townsend responds comfortably enough, but despite missing touch, Lee, Stirling Wolves will be mightily heartened by this opening 11 minutes or so.
Yeah, they've had a few wins across the board, couple in defence, they had the turnover there. Warriors just looking to hold that man up in the tackle, but Stirling fighting well, and that'll be something that I'm sure they'll be taking a note of. Look, these guys are trying to hold us up, let's fight hard in the tackle, get that knee on the floor as they have been doing.
Here comes Stirling on the charge. Benedict Grant blasting his way through, got rid of Gregor Brown. Tom Gordon recovered to tackle him. McGee trying to do it all on his own, but Ali Miller too strong, too powerful. Southern goes into play scrum half. Grant floats a neat ball out to Jackson. Holden lining up the backs for another assault. Southern going in at 9 again. Southern sniping the makeshift scrum half, making good headway. Now Tamosaitis. Oh, the Lithuanian juggernaut is taking names in the Warriors 22. Stirling knocking at the door. Spurway, the age grade flanker, held up a couple of metres out. As close as the Wolves have been. Bryce, the former Warrior, just short again. Benedict Grant into Hiddleston, held by Hiddleston.
Goal line.
Stirling as close as that. Jackson barking the orders. Here it comes. It's Marcus Holden. The veteran strolls in. Stirling Wolves seize their moments, and the game's first try belongs to the home side.
Such a well-worked try by Stirling. We had carries, they kept the ball, they had space on the ball, and eventually Marcus Holden goes in. Glasgow just ran out of numbers on that left-hand side, but the carries in the lead-up, we had Hamish Ferguson, we had Marius Tamosaitis, just leg drive, and they're really putting the Glasgow defence under pressure. Benedict Grant has a snipe as well, and they're just keeping that pressure on, the speed of the balls, and allowing them to do that. You can see Murphy Walker calling for the troops across there, and they just run out of numbers, and it's well executed by Stirling Wolves. They've really started this game well.
It's 2 tries in 2 matches now for Marcus Holden. Scored in the Wolves' attempted fight back against the Ayrshire Bulls last weekend. It's a windy evening. And Marcus Holden is taming the Stirling gusts. 100% from the tee, and all 10 points so far are his.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's been a real standout for Stirling over the Super 6 series and into this Super Series, playing at 10, playing at 12 and controlling games, but he's also a physical player, and he gets himself on the score sheet early today.
How importantly are those experienced players? Marcus Holden is not going to go and play pro rugby for Edinburgh, Glasgow. He's not Scottish qualified, but he brings that nous, that leadership to the young players that we're trying to develop through this competition.
Yeah, and I think that's what this series, this league lends itself to. The obvious thing is you've got these young players who aspire to be professionals, but you've also got the club guys that have got, you know, huge experience that they can, you know, almost guide these young guys and keep them right when, you know, when games get tough, and you know, just point them in the right direction. It's an important part of the league.
Dexterous work by Ross McKnight to prevent Craig Jackson earning a 50-22, but that clever kicking game is keeping the Warriors in their own half. As we catch a glimpse of Christian Townsend, Scotland age grade international, shifting forward from fullback to fly half this weekend. And of course, son of the Scotland coach Gregor, one of 2 rugby playing sons that Gregor has, both making their way in the national pathway. Overthrown by Stirling Wolves. Hiddleston does the mopping up, just about. Tom Gordon can't take it. Gregor Brown can, but Jackson is all over him. So too Connor Gordon. And that one forces Jamie Drummond to stoop, shrug off Spurway.
Ball is available.
Miller.
Stay down 4. Thank you.
Burgess hooks that over the shoulder. First glimpse of Stevie Hamilton. Haven't seen much of him. Glenn Bryce, over 50 games for Glasgow as a pro player. Now on the charge is Corey Winters, the speed machine, chipping and chasing. Cordero has enough pace to cover, and it will be a goal line dropout. Corey Winters and Facundo Cordero. That's a foot race that has you purring.
Yeah, just great acceleration. Corey Winters, he stands up his man here, gets on the outside, and Stirling going wide from that box kick, just identifying a bit of space on the edge, and the kick, it puts him under pressure. Cordero has to retreat back, and we get a goal line dropout.
Facundo Cordero capped once by Argentina against Ireland back in the Autumn Nations Series of 2021. Younger brother of the great Santiago, star with Exeter, on his way to Connacht next season. But in the here and now, it's all about this Stirling Wolves effort. Jane really Hart with an impressive carry, and then just fumbled by Liam Quorum, and the attacking opportunity is spurned.
We'll say the same to them. Tacklers, east to west. Okay. Ali, tacklers, east to west. Clear the nines path. Both sides. Take the hit, hold your weight. Yeah? They can take the space they need. You take the space you need.
Only their professional counterparts, Edinburgh Rugby A, have scored more than Glasgow's 66 points across the opening 2 rounds of the competition. Stuck on 0 as we approach the 20-minute mark tonight. Can this set piece be a tool to earn them penalties in field position? Not thus far. Burgess checks, looks for Logan Jarvie. Slammed hard by Spurway and by Grant. Walker. Burgess does kick this time. Glenn Bryce, back in his hometown club, the Alloa boy. Sparked something from deep, but being sparked backwards. Hamilton Drops it onto the toe, the ricochet works for Hamilton. Options left and right, Hamilton chose to back himself. Cordero, big hits. And Marcus Holden smartly in to salvage that ball with Ross McKnight in close attendance. Next charge is by Rory Hart, but he too is sent sprawling. Jackson, Bryce, turning the wingers. Covering across is Christian Townsend. Running laterally along that 22. Jackson trying to hunt him down. Hart splats him. Burgess to Tom Gordon. Making a beeline for two tacklers. Steamrolling both of them. Bringing out all the skills. He's got pace too, Tom Gordon. Where's the cover? Gordon still hacking on. Can he ground it? Oh, it's incredible!
Shot, one movement on the goal.
In all his professional matches,
Shot, one movement onto the goal.
in all his years in New Zealand and Scotland, Tom Gordon will never score a better try. It's globetrotter stuff from the Warriors flanker. It is jaw-dropping at Bridgehaugh.
What I do want is just that tackling.
What a score from Tom Gordon. We talked about him in the build-up, Jamie, and just what a natural rugby player he is, and that chip kick there, if anything, was it came through natural instinct, and you've seen his powerful burst in his own 22, but he's got the pace to finish it, and he's also got the gather that gets him to the line. You'll watch this back a few times.
Look at that touch, and the pick-up, and the stretch.
It's got everything, hasn't it?
Franco Smith, the Warriors senior coach, is here tonight. Tom Gordon engaged in a great tussle for open side supremacy with Rory Darge. It may be a semi-pro competition, but Tom Gordon has certainly laid down a marker with that score. Townsend from straight in front turns 5 points into 7, and out of nowhere the Warriors are back in touch, and might well Tom Gordon be panting heavily. This is worth as many looks as we can get.
He drops that ball so well to kick ahead, and then, like you say, Jamie, the touch, and he has the stretch for the finish as well. It's got a bit of everything, and that was against the tide really, because Stirling went through their kicking game, were pinning Warriors back in their own 22, but that just relieves a whole load of pressure built during that first 20 minutes.
Well, it's all a bit loose at the back though for Glasgow. Bongidraw threw one back in over the shoulder of Brown, who did well to get his legs motoring in the right direction. Jamie Drummond, who's played at both prop and hooker at this level.
Stay. Thank you.
Burgess dropping one on some unguarded Stirling turf. Bryce juggles and recovers, caught by McKnight. Spurway, a more industrial route.
Ball!
Held up, stripped of the ball. Gregor Bowen pilfers it, and now Hiddleston can try and instigate a Glasgow counter. Bongidraw, Salmon rips that pass away. It is flat. It is Logan Jarvie chipping in field. This time Craig Jackson covers smartly. Benedict Grant's ponytail flying everywhere.
Thank you, 5, stay down.
Holden looking for space. Townsend has come a long way across the cover, and he watches that out carefully.
Still live, still live.
Stirling really making use of their kicking game with Marcus Holden at 12, Craig Jackson at 10, just identifying space in the backfield. And watching Warriors A against Boroughmuir last week, the 2 scores from Boroughmuir came through kicks, and it was more attacking kicks, but I just wonder if Stirling have identified that. They're finding space in the backfield. They're controlling the game really well so far with that part of their armoury.
Gordon to Brown. You can see the athleticism in that back row. Burgess off front football. Asks the question of Stevie Hamilton. Ross McKnight chasing him down. Inside to Bryce. Can't escape the clutches of Drummond and Williamson. Jackson again. Stirling not eager to play a huge amount of rugby in that position. They want territory. They want to squeeze the Warriors into their own half. Cordero blasts that ball into the corner. Jackson returns, but the distance on Cordero's kick made it a tricky clearance into the breeze, and it's a good yardage gain for the Warriors.
Yeah, net gain for Warriors. That's an intelligent kick by Cordero. You could see almost tempted to run there, but he's identified a bit of space, and sometimes just going one more cycle in that kick cycle just gains you a bit more of a platform for the next phase.
Salmon, slick handling. Jarvie to Cordero, and Stirling don't want to let him get away. Up to the 22. Burgess, Hiddleston running short, then veering between a couple of hits. Burgess, Townsend, Williamson flicked it towards Drummond, who was not in a great position to catch that, and it will be a Stirling Wolves scrum.
One from blue, second from white.
The way Warriors are trying to play with these tip-ons, and there's a neat bit of hands, and Max Williamson so far showed some soft hands on a couple of occasions, really impressive for a big guy. The way Warriors are trying to just play those tip-ons and get into wider channels, I feel like Stirling, if they just take a bit more space in defence, which they have been doing compared to early on, that'll continue to put those passes under pressure, and then that's when you get the loose ball, that's when you get the turnover, and they can apply a pressure through their defence.
Crouch!
Caught a fleeting glimpse there of Big Al Kellogg, the former Glasgow captain and managing director, squinting into the setting sun. Again, Stirling Wolves holding their own against the professional pack, and Benedict Grant gleefully careering forwards, but turned over by Tom Gordon.
First man back away.
And then it's stolen back again. Pinching aplenty at the breakdown. And now Southern gets those legs a-pumping. A little bit awkward for Hamish Ferguson, but he holds on well, commits a couple of tacklers. McGee, a long box kick, dropping on Cordero. Jarvie with him, a teenager, assessing his options, trying to plot a route through a host of his teammates, plotting a route right through Kyle McGee. Samuel, 20 years of age, 6'9", a regular feature in the Warriors lineup this season. Townsend away to Tom Gordon, as he got up his sleeve this time. Brother on brother, Connor Gordon ransacks his older brother. Hiddleston. Burgess. Stirling playing with 14 just now. Ryan Southern injured out of shots, and Craig Jackson slaloming past two players. Again, Glasgow with the steal, Ali Miller this time, and it's a penalty to the A team.
FTU's first on the ball. For me, there was no impact. That's the picture I've seen. If I've got it wrong, I apologise. For me,
it's a big hit by Alex Samuel, isn't it? Going back to that ruck earlier on, I wonder if that was just the Gordon brothers giving themselves stats. You take a turnover, I'll take a turnover, and we can continue.
When you go play, put it time off the line out.
Craig Jackson, well travelled, very experienced at this level. Former Southern Knights captain. Came in to feature for Stirling towards the back end of last season as he rehabbed an injury. Began building his burgeoning coffee business outside of the game. Meanwhile, Alex Samuel requires a bit of treatment on one of those gigantic hands. 9 games for the Warriors this season, featuring in some of the Challenge Cup matches. Played really well in a win over Bath down at the Rec, along with the likes of Ewan Ferry, who's on the bench for the A side tonight. How important are these games for players like Alex Samuel, who might not be quite featuring in the playoff matches, the knockout matches that Glasgow will contest in the coming weeks? This is the last round of Super Series matches for the A teams. These guys want as much rugby as possible, don't they? Yeah,
it's so important. And Alex Samuel, you see him in Super 6 last season, the amount of Man of the Match awards. He's a real prospect So to get him just playing week in, week out in a physical game is brilliant. And we've seen Edinburgh A played last weekend, and I think there's 3 guys in the Edinburgh squad that will play this weekend that have made the jump up. So that shows you that just getting these guys game time under their belt is allowing the coaches to see them.
Line-out didn't go to plan for Glasgow. Stirling Wolves on the attack. Glenn Bryce sneaking somehow through the clutches of the Warriors. Grant tips it on to Spurway, then shunts his teammate forward, loses the ball in the process. Jimmy Drummond and now Gregor Brown bring it away. Townsend hammers it down the tram lines. 50-22 is on here. The bounce is wicked. Corey Winters can't handle it.
A knock on, you've then played at the ball. Ali, I don't want to slow you down, you've got to go close to the mark.
It's an offside penalty.
Knocked on, and then he was offside.
Yeah, it's gone forward through the hands of Corey Winters and then picked up by an offside player. Intelligent kick this from Townsend.
Yeah, it was the right play, wasn't it? There was space in the backfield off the turnover. The ball was a bit scrappy. Great decision, Christian Townsend, and a wicked bounce. You can never account for the bounce, and it's unfortunate from a Stirling point of view, but it gives Warriors a good bit of field possession and a good attacking line out here.
Injury and force replacement as well for Stirling Wolves. Ryan Southern has been struggling for the past few minutes. He's off, and on will come Craig Jardine, last year's breakthrough player of the season for County. Into that midfield, centre for centre. Wolves have got some defensive duties to do now as we approach the half-hour mark. Gregor Hiddleston commanded to play. Bit of a loose pass. Mopped up by Jarvie, well off his wing. Awkward for Cordero. Shackled on the 22. Burgess, Tom Gordon looking to repeat the trick. Not quite this time. Burgess again, scrag tackle by Benedict Grant. Spurway can't quite win that turnover. Samuel ducks his giant frame into contact. Burgess again. Drummond again, a lively presence in the loose these past few minutes. Burgess, Townsend, Salmon, and then Jarvie, rattled by Craig Jardine in his first involvement. McKnight scoops it away for Gregor Brown, dancing and then dynamiting. Townsend again. Alex Samuel, a bit of space for the big man to gallop into. Now they go blind. Aminio Bongidrao showing and straightening.
No, second bite, 5 second bite.
Really hard, not quite able to pinch it back. Drummond once more. So squat and low to the ground and hard to fell. Flat pass from Townsend to Brown. Still Glasgow go through the phases. Still they probe for an opening in this stubborn Stirling defence. Holden trying to strip the ball. He has stripped the ball from Logan Jarvie. It is a Stirling Wolves turnover. And really it is another fantastic defensive effort from the Wolves.
No hand, just a rock.
It's 3 times now they've held the Warriors at bay in this kind of position. And now they look to embark on a rampage from deep. Jardine for McGee, for Winters. Ali Miller tracking back, Winters too fast. The inside ball to McGee, burning for the corner and scoring! Stunning from Stirling! Off turnover ball, they cleave their elite rivals open, and Kyle McGee has a try to match that of Tom Gordon.
It's a score built from defence. Stirling have really grown in confidence throughout this match in terms of defence. They've been putting Warriors under pressure, some loose balls, and then the strip and the tackle by Marcus Holden. But Stirling have got the enterprise to shift that ball wide, and it's real pace that finishes it off. Kyle McGee on the inside, who's had a great game so far, and he gets his just reward with a score in the corner. You know, the vision there just to spread the ball to the width where the space is, and great pace Corey Winters. He outstrips the back row and it's inside to Kyle McGee. Great support line by the scrum half, as you'd always expect, and it's a tight finish in the corner, but it's given and he gets there. Well deserved, Stirling.
Right touchline, left touchline, it doesn't matter to Marcus Holden. Another belting kick from the man whose turnover started this move. And you see the pace of Corey Winters, who was in with Edinburgh for a couple of seasons. That was the difference on the outside.
Kyle McGee does a great job there. He just lifts his feet, and I think, you know, on second view, and he does get that ball down. It's a tremendous finish.
Yes, no TMO in the Super Series Sprint yet. May yet be an introduction the SRU want to make in the coming years, but for the time being, it's just down to those on the pitch to make the calls. Benefit of the doubt will therefore always be with the attacking player. Here's Cordero. Goodness me, look at the change of pace. Bongidrao clings on. Winters trying to dump him. Another rip. Corey Winters this time. And then hacked away by big Hamish Ferguson. And Winters is cantering down on Christian Townsend. McKnight's 6'5", 108 kilos. Stops and starts and is taken. And Stirling fighting for that turnover. Stirling winning the turnover. And Craig Jardine is having a cracking few minutes. He's barely on the pitch.
Exactly. Boys don't appeal to. Okay, sorry.
And Marcus Holden laying down the law to his teammate Jake Spurway as well, who was giving out the verbals.
Yeah, Craig Jardine coming on and having some real telling contributions in defence, and with Marcus Holden also defending really well. That centre channel is reaping a lot of rewards for Stirling. That's a massive win for them. You know, scrappy ball, it was kicked through, puts Glasgow under pressure. They're kind of struggling to get back, and this Stirling team has only grown in confidence, and it's built on that defensive effort.
Give him a chance to match, same as you get.
Captain Kennedy, a local boy from Alva, just down the road, will throw in 5 metres from the Glasgow line. Stirling Wolves looking for a third try before half-time. Holden, route one. Can he get it grounding? Yes, he can! Marcus Holden stampedes through the Warriors' defence. The Wolves have their third, and they are filleting the professionals.
We've just mentioned him, but Marcus Holden has got the bit between his teeth. I wonder what he had for his breakfast this morning. Just carrying hard. He's done the defensive duties. He went over for an early score. You know, it's a tough ball to take that as well, but he just gets on that outside. He keeps his legs driving through contact, and it does the work, and he gets his team another score.
Carried through 2 big men in Hiddleston and Bongidrao, and he's had them for breakfast. Adds the extras from straight in front. He's 4 from 4 off the tee, and he's scored 2 of the Wolves' 3 tries. What a half for the big New Zealander.
He's definitely earned his half-time orange. He's controlled this game for the first half for Stirling, and those guys will be looking to him to continue to lead throughout the remainder of this game.
Four minutes of the first half left, and Glasgow Warriors facing quite the deficit. 17 points the difference just now, and the story of the game has been ruthlessness. Stirling Wolves seizing their opportunities, Glasgow Warriors squandering theirs. And the Wolves' ability to bar up in defence and withstand some of the heavy hitters in that A pack has been important too. Jackson can't go direct to touch. He has. So Glasgow will have a chance from just inside the Wolves 22 to launch something, to find some attacking fluency as the half teeters towards its conclusion.
Just give one, that's you, thank you.
Hiddleston, whose rugby career began at Dumfries Saints in the south of the country. Scotland age grade international at under 20 level. Distinctive green scrum cap. It's there for Burgess. Spurway's offside, so penalty advantage Glasgow, and that will be activated.
he was offside.
It almost looked like he knew he was doing wrong there with his hands in the scrum half. You know, maybe not a bad thing for Stirling to, you know, relieve a penalty there. It was a, you know, it was a strong attacking platform, you know, from a driving maul that the Warriors could get going, but they'll get another opportunity here.
Oh, line.
Seeing a relatively small scrum half exposed in a position like that is the back row rugby's equivalent of a child waking up to a living room full of presents on Christmas morning. Hard to resist that temptation.
On the line. No ball.
Not for the first time tonight. We were short of one key ingredient to get the match going, a ball, and everybody stands around looking rather puzzled. Here comes the young chap, perhaps to bail us out. Good hands, young man. And Gregor Hiddleston can get down to business. This will in all likelihood be the last attacking opportunity of the half. Just over 90 seconds left. And soaring to collect was Alex Samuel. And the Warriors perhaps now can use that set piece and that added power to muscle their way to 5 important points. Got to get the ball out of there. Been asked to use it. Now Burgess breaks. Bongi Drao cut down hard. Burgess again. Jamie Drummond stepping and straightening. Burgess. Williamson. One of the massive second row specimens in the Warriors pack. Ali Miller cutting back inside. Into the final minute of the half. Townsend goes wide to Jarvie on the edge. Cutting back in, but Jardine again has his number. Stirling scrapping for every breakdown opportunity. Samuel dragged to ground. Glasgow come again. Williamson comes again. Locks getting through loads of tight carrying work. Townsend held it back for Bongi Drao. He's been lively, but his impact limited by the quality of the home defence. Gregor Brown. And still, that's got Glasgow on the front foot. That's got them motoring again. Hiddleston, double tackled. That might create some attacking space elsewhere. Slow ball though for Burgess. Drummond, tireless. Bullocking charges from the prop. Burgess again into Murphy Walker. Still no way through for Glasgow. Clock is red. Final play of the half. And it's a big one. It's a really significant set of phases. It could shape the momentum and the flow of this match. Burgess again. Hiddleston. Oh, what a chop tackle, Connor Gordon. Torpedoed the shins of the hooker. Ali Miller. Ali Miller with the power. Clings onto the ball. Great Jardine gets over it, but he's told to leave it go. Bongi Drao. Big tackle coming in from Corey Winters. Stirling make a mess of that breakdown. Cordero at scrum half, jinking. Can't slip away from Benedict Grant. Glasgow go blind. Townsend working his way back in field. Benedict Grant and Winters there yet again. Now they go with the big boys and Samuel. Phase after punishing phase. And then Glasgow cough it up. Off a knee. Corey Winters out of play, and it is another mighty defensive set from Stirling Wolves. In many ways it's been the story of that opening 40 minutes. The semi-pro team refusing to bend and buckle beneath the onslaught and the pressure of their professional counterparts. Benedict Grant's been impressive on both sides of the ball. A frustrating half for Aminio Bongi Drao, but Stirling Wolves 3 tries to the goods. Marcus Holden with 19 of their first half points, and the Wolves well on course for an impressive first home win in 11 long months. Half-time at Bridgehaugh, Stirling Wolves 24, Glasgow Warriors A 7.
once again to our sponsors here at Stirling Wolves, our main sponsor, Wolf Creek Distillery, also to Nike Kit Walker, Kilgannon Motors, University of Stirling Sports, Belhaven Brewery, Johnson Carmichael, Douglas Park BMW, GMS Architects, and also ESP Physio as well. Just a reminder that after the match this evening, live entertainment in the bar here at Bridgehaugh. Brian Cattigan is performing live from 9 through till 11 o'clock this evening.
Well, a thoroughly entertaining first half of rugby here at Bridgehaugh. Stirling Wolves with a 17-point advantage over their illustrious guests from the west, and some more illustrious faces watching on from the touchline. Ross Thompson signing an autograph for a Glasgow fan. The Scotland and Warriors fly half, Ollie Smith in the body warmer just in front of him as well, perhaps the heir to Stuart Hogg in the number 15 jersey for Glasgow and Scotland. Let's take a look back at the best of the first half action though, and it started so well for Stirling, Lee Jones. Marcus Holden galloping in untouched for his first try of a 19-point haul.
Yeah, this was his first one. There was some great build-up play, a couple of really good carries under the posts, and then they just win the numbers game. Ross McKnight has to make a decision there. He's got 3 men on the outside, but it's well executed, and Marcus Holden's there to finish it off.
And Holden's influence would burn bright throughout that half. The New Zealander who's played pro rugby all over Europe, played internationally for Cyprus, played a bit of rugby league as well for the Netherlands in his globe-trotting career, but now a proud son of Stirling, and last week's co-captain, scoring the first of 2 tries in pretty comfortable fashion. The sun beginning to set in Bridgehaugh, but this fairly brightened things up. Tom Gordon with perhaps the finest try you'll see all season at any level in any competition, an open side flanker, beating 2 players, chip, chase, gather, stretch, score. How many like that did you score, Lee?
Not many, if any. Like, just the amount of skill on show here. First to break the tackle, then he's got the chip, then he's got the dribble, and he's got the finish as well. That'll be one to remember for him, but I said it before, he's a natural rugby player. He reads the game really well, he's physical, and the guy's got 65 caps for Warriors. You know, a real talent on show tonight, and that try proves it. It was a one shining light really for Warriors in that first half.
it's the effortlessness of the kick itself. It's all lovely flowing motions. It looks so natural the way a flanker, remember, although players are very skilled these days, just drops it one hand, one foot over the top of the fullback. Brilliant moment for Tom Gordon. Marcus Holden didn't score this second Stirling Wolves try, but he certainly played his part in setting it up, stripping the ball of Logan Jarvie, and the Wolves go from 70 odd metres. The ball swept away to the left hand side. Craig Jackson involved, Craig Jardim involved as well. Benedict Grant with the first involvement here. Wide it goes, Lee. Corey Winters with the pace, and Kyle McGee with a great finish. Yeah, it comes from turnover ball, and turnover ball's the hardest, you know, thing to defend off. You end up with a back row on the wing, people are out of position, they're working back in, and Stirling take full advantage of that. A lot of their play has been built on defence. We had the strip from Marcus Holden, but then they've had that enterprise to put width on the ball. Corey Winters, real gas up the touchline, manages to stay in, and it's just a great support line from Kyle McGee. He had an impressive first half, and he does enough to get his feet up and finish in the corner. So it's a well-deserved try from Stirling, and as I say, it's built on defence. Blistering pace from Corey Winters, good support, classic scrum half line from McGee, and he just gets those feet up in the nick of time before grinding the ball over the Glasgow try line. The Wolves weren't done there though, and neither was Marcus Holden from this line out 5 metres from the Glasgow line. Holden, route one, bang, 3 defenders committed, none of them could stop the New Zealander, and that really did set the tone for this Stirling performance. Yeah, just real desire to finish and score there from Marcus Holden. He keeps his feet moving, carries a couple of defenders over the line, and again, that field position came from strong defence in the centre, Stirling filling the field and really matching Warriors physically. I think coming into this game, there's probably, for me anyway, a question mark over can Stirling match up to the pack that Warriors have put out on paper. You're thinking physicality, the size of the second rows, you've got a back row with such experience. Can Stirling match that physicality? And Eddie Pollock mentioned it, you know, in the pre-match comments. He expected Glasgow Warriors to really start with a physical game, but you know, Stirling have matched it, and if not bettered Warriors at times, and that confidence has grown throughout that first half, and it's put them in a great position going into half-time, 24/7. What do Glasgow need to do, Lee, to get themselves back into this game? I don't think 24/7 is a scoreline that many would have seen coming for all Stirling's qualities. Yeah, look, I think you can see the way Warriors are trying to play. They're almost playing before they've earned that right with tip-ons, and they're creating a bit of space, but the Stirling defence are on top of that. I think for Glasgow, they need to go back to basics in terms of their first 3 carries need to be making yards, and they need to really focus on denting that Stirling defence, sucking defenders in. There'll be a bit more space, and then there's time for the quick hands, there's time for the tip-on. They'll put players on the width into more space. So I think, you know, really just focusing on that direct carry, the real hard work that goes on initially, and it's been there, but I think they're just trying to play almost on top of Stirling a wee bit when they really need to play through them, and I'm sure that'll be the message that's going on at half-time. The tulips blossoming at Bridgehaugh, a night for supporters and rugby lovers of all ages and all backgrounds. Another look at some of the professional players who've come down to take a close eye at their colleagues in action. Ollie Kebble, the massive specimen, just about blocking out what's left of the sun in our camera angle there with the baseball cap and the body warmer. Scotland international was involved in rounds 1 and 2 of the Super Series, but not playing tonight. Boy, that looks good, doesn't it? Perfect evening for a cold beer and a trip down to watch the rugby. And Lee, those Stirling supporters will be hugely encouraged and satisfied with the quality of the performance we're seeing. People talk a lot about heart when you're playing a team that's maybe more better resourced or has more high caliber players in their ranks, but technically, tactically, Stirling have ticked pretty much every box you could ask. Yeah, you can see the real energy throughout the team, and that's coming from the stands as well. We've got a full stand here, and you can just see those defensive wins when they gain a bit of momentum, they gain front foot. It lifts the crowd, it lifts the players, and as I mentioned before, the players will take massive confidence from that as well. They're going up against guys who are full-time
it's a chance to play against the guys that are more often than not within that pro environment. And yes, there's a bit of crossover. There's some Stirling guys in the Warriors team, there's some Warriors guys in the Stirling team, and they know each other well. But for those Stirling guys, I'm sure they would have talked about before the game, this is a real opportunity to go against these full-time guys and see where we're at. And for this first half, they've really bettered them, and it'll be interesting to see how this second half pans out, how the Warriors react to what's been, but also how Stirling try to build on what they've put down in the first half as well.
Well, out come the embattled Warriors. The words of Pete Horne and Al Dickinson no doubt ringing in their ears as they retake the fields. They have made a change as well, with Ewan Ferry coming on wearing 21 into the away back row. Get confirmation of exactly who has been withdrawn in the next minute or so, but certainly Ewan Ferry, there he is. Big breakthrough season for him, was with Boroughmuir Bears last season, but now with the top team. And there is the gaffer, Franco Smith, who's overseen such a fantastic season for the Warriors across the URC and the Challenge Cup, perhaps imparting a little bit of wisdom to Pete Horne, part of his professional coaching staff. Franco Smith's Glasgow in action tomorrow night against Connacht, their last URC regular season fixture down at Scotstoun. Maybe a bit of gamesmanship here from Eddie Pollock, who's been around the block many times, making the Warriors just wait out in the cold an extra minute or two while his Stirling players re-emerge through the cheerleaders' guard of honour. Marcus Holden first out again, and a change for the Wolves as well. Finlay Callaghan, a really talented, really elusive runner, has come on wearing 23 in that Wolves backline. So already brought on Craig Jardine, and now Finn Callaghan, who missed round 2 through injury, fit again tonight, and he has joined the fray for the second half. We'll get confirmation of all the half-time changes in just a few moments. But there is Finlay Callaghan, former Scotland Sevens international. And the Warriors looking to salvage this one. 17 points down, get the second half off and running, and Ewan Ferry straight into the action with the first hit of the second 40. Taken in by Raynor Kennedy.
Ball inside, tackle complete inside. No, it's not. No, it's not. Use.
McGee, so impressive in that opening half. Lands it on Facundo Cordero. Townsend. Ross McKnight. I haven't seen a great deal of him in open prairie, but when he gets shifting, fiendishly hard to put away. Hiddleston out the back for Townsend. Samuel juggles but holds and makes good yardage. Murphy Walker doesn't hold, and it will be a Stirling Wolves scrum. And there's a
on your elbows first, all right?
A large amount of self-harm about this Glasgow performance.
The first carry was there, wasn't it? Alex Samuel just working through the contact, and that created a great platform for Glasgow to go back down the short side, which you can see they're trying to do. Early in that first half, they're looking at short side just to try and manipulate the Stirling defence, but unfortunately they couldn't get there through Murphy Walker on that occasion.
So some jiggery-pokery then in the Glasgow Warriors backline. Ewan Ferry came on at half-time. He's a flanker. He's come on for centre/winger Aminio Bongidrao, who's sadly using crutches to hobble up the stands beneath us. That means Tom Gordon has shifted into midfield. He's currently defending in the inside centre position. There he is, the right of your picture. Certainly, as we saw in the first half, quick enough and skillful enough to play in the back line. But more shuffling required for Pete Horne and his team. Lost Andy Stirrett pre-match as well, the centre, so Bongidrao, who was meant to be a replacement, started. Now they've lost him. Jackson. Kennedy shifted on to Tamosaitis. Really interesting story. There's Tamosaitis, a European under-21 kettlebell champion. Took up rugby pretty late, but those at Stirling were keen to alert the Lithuanian authorities as to what a talent he could be. He's subsequently gone on and won caps for his country. Nice little dummy there from Liam Quorm. Holden and Ferguson going to protect and provide the Roman-like shield for Kyle McGee. This will chase the Warriors back. Condero, good take. Brought down by Connor Gordon. Walker. Townsend shifting it wide to Salmon. And guess who's out here? Tom Gordon again, jinking and goose-stepping and causing mayhem. Burgess went down the short sides. Jamie Drummond was there, but Burgess had to check. McKnight goes into play 9. Oh, Stirling have it back. It is the Lithuanian Tamosaitis. Kennedy had to shovel it backwards. But it is Stirling Wolves' possession. Here goes Bryce. Jackson. Kyle McGee lurking. Oh, caught round the ankles by Ewan Ferry. Warriors hunting for that turnover. Not getting it. Ferguson into Hiddleston.
Tackle, 2.
Former Curry Chieftains player Hamish Ferguson played under Ben Cairns there. Oh, a big dump tackle. Super tackle in the midfield. May have been Tom Gordon again. It was Jamie Drummond, in fact. Ferguson blasts Gregor Brown away.
Tackle.
Real arm wrestle, this set of phases. McGee, Kennedy, neatly done to Grant. He's a hard man to stop, Benedict Grant. Jackson, cross-fielder. There's space out here for Finlay Callahan. And the ball just beats the replacement into touch.
Ball's been touched.
As Glasgow look for some more impetus off the bench to bringing on Angus Fraser for Hiddleston at hooker. Good invention this though, Lee, from the Wolves attackers.
Yeah, definitely a smart play by Craig Jackson. I think, you know, after the turnover, Stirling had tried a few phases. They went back down short side on a couple of occasions, but the Warriors' defence was resolute. So, you know, once you went a few phases, you're in the middle of the field. There's probably a great opportunity to roll it in behind and try and apply pressure in a different way. And Finn Callahan was onto that there. There was, you know, there was an opportunity, and it pins Warriors back into the 22. So, win-win situation there, and good play from Craig Jackson.
There is Angus Fraser, made his Glasgow debut this season in the senior team, played 3 times against Perpignan, Bath and the Lions.
You guys good with your subs?
And Gregor Hiddleston is actually moving into the back row because it's the injured Gregor Brown who's been replaced. So Hiddleston will probably fill in at 7. Fraser to hooker. And Fraser's first throw is a good one to Alex Samuel. Hiddleston breaking off. Ferry attacked that like a torpedo. Couldn't take the ball with him. Knock-on advantage Stirling. Broken field opportunity for Corey Winters. Well defended by Glasgow. Good ruck clean from Glenn Bryce. McGee like a matador, showing and sniping and looking for options. Rory Hart is one of them. Stirling Wolves on the prowl for a bonus point try. 5 minutes into the new half. Hart gets another touch. Grant riding side saddle. Oh, big turnover from Glasgow. Really important jackal from Ewan Ferry.
Yeah.
And that could prove to be a try saver.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's a big turnover. Since he's come on, Ewan Ferry's been sniffing around those rucks. You can hear the referee, 21 leave it, 21 leave it. But he's taken his opportunity there. Got hard over ball and earned his team a great turnover. Stirling on the front foot. Kyle McGee looking really sharp around that breakdown. He's biding his time well there, and you know, he's taken the gap when it's arrived. He had support flooding through. He got a nice offload, but it's a timely turnover from Warriors.
Blue on the line, ball's outside. Ali, line, you're outside.
Rory Hart's been an impressive performer tonight in that Stirling Wolves engine room. Only turns 19 years old next month, the Kilmacombe native. He's another who featured in all of Scotland's under-26 nations matches. Safe line out again from Fraser and co. And Tom Gordon is off on his merry way once again. Pass from Walker to McKnight, and McKnight has pace as well as physicality, working his way off the wing, taking on Winters, eliminating Winters. Jackson recovers to halt the marauding giant. Space and plenty blue jerseys now for Glasgow. It's Ferry dummying with Gordon on his shoulder, now gets the offload away. Murphy Walker, can he reach the line? No. Hiddleston piercing through. Glasgow Warriors well and truly back in this game now, as they switch from defence to attack and score a length of the field effort of their own.
Great pace by Ross McKnight on the far touchline there, and then it's just speed of ball. Recycling Ewan Ferry, reads a body shape, he takes on the defence, but then he gets the offload away, and Thomas Gordon, the rugby player he is, manages just to link back in, and then a speed of ball that allows Hiddleston to get over there. Great patience by Tom Gordon, just to hold up that pass, flick it on to Murphy Walker, and the defence from Stirling just can't recover.
Yeah. Right, let's just keep working those offside lines. Give them the space.
Signed a partnership deal with the SRU involving Glasgow Warriors and the Wolves this season. And he has been a consistently excellent performer across these opening 3 rounds, Gregor Hiddleston. Second kick of the night for Christian Townsend. And he squeezes that one through just about. So 14 points now for Glasgow. It's a 10-point match.
It's great to see a winger get a bit of space and get into full flight, and Ross McKnight, he does really well. He comes back in, and then there's a bit of slalom. He beats a few defenders, but you know, he takes his medicine there, takes that ruck, and then allows his team to recycle and eventually get over the line.
1 and 6. 1 and 6 white.
Yeah, the meters made by Murphy Walker just opened up that space, and Hiddleston happy to plunge over. A few more changes for Stirling Wolves as well. Off have gone Liam Quam and Jake Spurway, both effective performers tonight. On has come George Breeze wearing 18, and Sean MacDonald, Stirling born and bred, a former captain of the Stirling County club team, to try and see the Wolves home in this final half hour. This is Cordero. Glasgow attacking from deep again, and now the professionals are finding some soft shoulders. Ewan Ferry running good support line. That was Fraser. Sean Kennedy has come on against the team he coaches, and Glasgow again creates space down the blind side. McKnight backwards off a Wolves hand. Stirling have it back.
Back foot 21, back foot, thank you.
He will try and bring some calm to proceedings here.
On the floor, leave it.
Dropping it on Sean Kennedy, who's limping a little bit. Cordero takes command. Kenny's got that spring in his step, so hard to shackle and stop. Drummond, here we go, opening up for the prop. And he happily takes the space presented to him. Kennedy, Ferry, can't take it. Corey Winters can. Corey Winters is rapid. So is Facundo Cordero. Try-saver from Cordero, but it's onto MacDonald. Rolling to within a metre of the line. Stirling Wolves desperate to re-establish that lead, to score their bonus point try. Grant away to Breeze, who tucks and runs. Grant goes in again to protect and play scrum half. Feeds it on to another meaty specimen. McGee, Hart, repelled and the ball loose.
Backwards, ball has gone backwards.
Still Stirling have it. Ferguson working his way around the corner. Stirling Wolves aching for another try. McDonald has another shot. They go blind, fast hands to Winters. Has to spin back away from that touchline. Handed it on to Jordan. Kennedy Jackling. Can't wrench the ball clear. It's all tight right now. It's all down to the forwards. The heavies. Ewan Ferry offside. Penalty Stirling. And they're going to need it.
Hands past the back foot. 21-5.
What a change in momentum. We've seen Glasgow just beginning to get tempo into the game, beginning to find spaces and get onto the front foot. Sean Kennedy's come on. He had a couple of great interventions with a couple of good passes into space. And then we had the turnover. And Corey Winters almost goes the length. He was reeled in well by Cordero. And then we've just got Stirling pounding the line again.
Hold the ball. 5 wide. 5.
I think the only player on the pitch that could have matched Corey Winters stride for stride was Facundo Cordero. Sean McDonald halted, agonisingly short from a Stirling point of view.
It's good work back by Glasgow, isn't it? Ali Miller working hard just to pick up the support player and reel him in. It's good to see.
James Pow onto the Stirling second row for Rory Hart's. Pow's first job, an important one. Anchor this line out, set this maul drive. Raynor Kennedy trundling towards Glaswegian pay dirt. He's there. It's a Bridgehaugh bonus for the Stirling Wolves, and they are taking it to these Warriors.
You can see what that means there to Raynor Kennedy, the captain, getting off the back of the driving maul there, and it's well deserved. They've set it up well, they've executed, but they've earned that possession, they've earned the position. They just get it set up quickly, don't they? And the Warriors boys are struggling to stem that tide, and it's a hooker's dream. Drive that across the line. He does well to get across at the end, and you can see what it means to him, the bit of emotion there. And these Stirling guys are, you can see they're enjoying each other's company, they're enjoying, you know, playing against this Warriors side and really putting them to the sword. They've done it in the first half and they're continuing that now as we get into the second half.
Marcus Holden misses for the first time in 5 attempts tonight, but still it's a 3-score game.
Yeah, cheers.
And this, Lee, is what you might expect to see the professional pack doing to the semi-pros. Not so.
Yeah, especially given last weekend as well, the Warriors against Boroughmuir, they got some real joy with their driving maul. I think 4 scores, you know, from there. But I think I said it last week, the maul defence, by all accounts, is a different beast compared to the maul attack, and the maul attack on Stirling's part there was very effective.
Time is of the essence for Glasgow. 25 minutes, 15 points the deficit, and it's forward through Ewan Ferry's hands. And off go Stirling Wolves through Holden, their talisman tonight, and on so many other nights. And that will be brought back for the Glasgow knock-on.
It's a maul, there's no advantage. First came forward from blue.
It's a new competition, the Super Series as it's called now, just in its 3rd full year. But you can see the emotion among those players, you can see what it means to them to represent their teams, their franchises, their clubs of origin.
It's been really good so far.
And Stirling had such a bruising season last year. They finished bottom of the Super 6 Championship. Did pretty well in the Sprint Series beforehand, but bottom of the Championship, 2 wins from 10. They didn't win a single home match in the Championship. Only victories against the Southern Knights and the Boroughmuir Bears in Melrose and in Edinburgh. They haven't won a match here at Bridgehaugh since the 27th of May last year.
Yeah, okay.
11 months is a long time between drinks. And they are on the cusp now of ending that barren home record in emphatic fashion.
Okay, time on. Height and stability. I'll let you from this side, come in from this side. Okay. Yeah, I'll step right this left. Crouch! Bind! Set!
There's that Glasgow power though, big shove. Stirling backpedaling and McGee having to launch a salvage operation. And now minus their scrum half. Stirling Wolves must set themselves to go again. Benedict Grant's an ever-willing recipient of unwelcoming ball.
It's carried back.
Jackson in the pocket.
Chase onside.
Here's Cordero. Can he conjure something from deep? Off goes the Argentine sprite, but cut down by Connor Gordon.
Advantage. No clear release.
Penalty advantage Glasgow. Walker, Townsend, Salmon injecting such pace. Inside ball was on, but he couldn't quite link with the support runners.
Thanks, Callum. Yeah, there's no advantage. Knock on the floor. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Corey Winters is down and in some degree of discomfort. That's really unpleasant to see. Corey Winters seems to be in quite significant pain, and the medics are swiftly on to
just keep that mark.
Look after the Stirling winger. It's encouraging though for Glasgow Lee. Ben Salmon making that line break.
Yeah, he's looked really sharp tonight. He's a wiry customer, isn't he? But he's got real pace. Moves well on the ball. Like you say, if the inside option was there, but I think he made the right decision to hold on. He's a real talent. He was in with the 7 squad a bit over the last year or two, and yeah, someone who's got a bright future ahead of him, I think. You can see when he's been on the ball tonight, he's got that bit of sharpness. He's got, as I say, he's got some good movement. He's made some incisive plays tonight.
It's never easy for players when one of their own is so gravely stricken and play is stopped and muscles and joints get a little bit rusty and cold.
Yeah.
Franco Smith.
Yeah, they were just going for me. They were going
perhaps sending a voice note or two, plotting the downfall of Connacht next, well, this weekend, and massive European semi-final for Glasgow then Llanelli in 8 days' time, taking on the Scarlets. And quite literally beside his right-hand man, Greg Willard, who's been the chief analyst, does a lot of the recruitment and the scouting work for Glasgow when it comes to the new signings. And I'm sure there will be more to be unveiled by the Warriors in the coming weeks and months. What an introduction to rugby that is. Friday night at Bridgehaugh. How impressed have you been, Lee, by this Stirling team tonight? They're showing no signs of slowing down their momentum.
Yeah, like I say, the only probably real question mark was, can they match the physicality? And like I say, I think they've done that. They've gained confidence throughout the game, and we've mentioned it as well, just bringing a real energy to the game. They've slowed the ball down so well in defence, which has meant Glasgow have struggled to make any incision. So yeah, a performance built off defence, but then, you know, that's tied in with a smart kicking game that's allowed them to gain good territory. You know, and then when they've had to execute, they've had to execute. You know, one of the things watching Stirling over the last couple of seasons, Super 6, I think they've really struggled to get their set plays going. You know, and turned over ball just that wee bit too easily, but I think tonight they've really managed to hold on to it. They've played well off turnover ball, and they've gained a lot of turnovers through, you know, stripping in the tackle or hard over ball, and that's given them a real position to play the ball to space and, you know, eventually manage to get points on the board.
Well, both players just going through some fundamental handling drills to keep themselves warm and sharp as Corey Winters is cared for. The stretcher is on for the New Zealand winger, and Eric Davey has come on to replace him. Let's take a look back at the 2 tries in the second half. First of all, for Glasgow and for Gregor Hiddleston, made by the work of Ferry and Gordon.
Yeah, and first of all, Ross McKnight on the far side, and I think just a subtlety in the lead up to that try. Cordero squares up really nicely, just to give the guys on the outside a wee bit more space, and it brought them back into the game there.
But this one not quite as spectacular from a back's point of view, but no less pleasing for Stirling Wolves. Really steamrolling that Glasgow pack, and Raynor Kennedy plunging home, and look at what it means to the Stirling Wolves skipper. That was well constructed, that ball.
Yeah, it's efficient work, and that's something that, you know, when you're reviewing that game on Monday, that's a real tick in that column for the forwards anyway, and I'm sure Eddie Pollock will be pleased with that one. A spare a thought for Sean Kennedy, who probably over this weekend and into Monday has to objectively look at the game from both sides, from the Stirling side as a coach and from this Warriors side as a player, with no bias, obviously.
This is exactly what we need.
It's such a strange dynamic. There is the nature of this competition is that there's always going to be a degree of crossover. Well, the pro sides are involved. Of course, they bow out Glasgow and Edinburgh A after this round, having played 3 matches apiece. But it must be difficult for players moving back and forth. I guess the positive is they're getting game time, they're getting opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about game time for these guys on both teams. You know, the Warriors guys with an opportunity to, you know, impress coaches that are watching. The Stirling guys an opportunity to go up against these guys and prepare for the remainder of the Super Series and on to the championship season as well.
Corey Winters carried from the field to a backdrop of applause, and it goes without saying that we wish him all the very best after what looked like a very, very nasty injury. So, about 7 minutes since play was stopped. It will resume. 23 left to play. Glasgow Warriors with the penalty, and with a mountain the size of the Ochil Hills to climb here. 3 scores to turn the tables on Stirling Wolves. And confirmation of that change, Eric Davey, a scrum half by trade, on for Corey Winters. It looks like Kyle McGee is going to move out to the wing, and Davey will play in his conventional position at 9.
White, open the gap. Open up, White. Thank you.
So both teams, through injury, forced to field somewhat makeshift backlines. Remember, Tom Gordon, the breakaway flanker, slotting in at midfield in the second half for Glasgow. And that maul moving over the 22. Kennedy whips it away. There is Tom Gordon. And brother Tom involved in the double tackle. Kennedy encouraging his heavies round the corner. Ewan Ferry with a good carry. Kennedy again looking for Fraser. Kennedy, Townsend, Salmon to Gordon. Couldn't free that right arm with Cordero in close attendance. Hiddleston, Jamie Drummond. Benedict Grant drags him down. Glasgow in centre field, wonderful attacking position. Angus Fraser, Bullocks into another heavy hit. Miller, Townsend with space. The pass doesn't go to hand. Then Salmon coughs it up, and it is more frustration for the Warriors.
It's a real frustration with that error there. Again, Warriors just building momentum. Sean Kennedy's passing game has been on point since he's come on. He's whipping it away. He's sometimes attracting that defender around the ruck, and it's really allowing Glasgow, along with their clear-out game, to get on the front foot. And they'll be frustrated there. It was just, you know, that pass is on the hip. It's a tough one to take, and it just hands over possession back to the home side.
That's you boys anyway, 2 and 3. Yeah.
And that rather hearty roar of approval you've heard is from all of the university friends and colleagues and supporters of the man wearing number 16 tonight, Sam Rainey, a Stirling Uni student, filled in towards the back end of last season's Super Series Championship, and he comes on in the front row. And Adam Wood as well, wearing 17, the loose head prop with not much hair on his head, but plenty of it on his face, who's coming in to bolster that Stirling Wolves front row as well. Tamasitis and Kennedy off. Kennedy limping off with some form of damage to his lower body. So an all-new front row at the front of that Wolves scrummage. And it is being reversed, but Benedict Grant does enough to break away quickly. Davey, Holden. And taken in by Pau. Eric Davey protected by the bulk of wood. And overhand style. Awkward to catch, and Sven Callahan making a nuisance of himself. And there was a little knock-on the floor from a Glasgow call. And Stirling Wolves will take that all day long.
Just the benefits of an accurate box kick there. Eric Davey, not long on the field, great execution. It just puts a bit of indecision onto who's claiming that high ball, and you end up with a knock-on. You win possession back. That's a real win for the Stirling Wolves.
I'll let you in from your side. Okay. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Again, Warriors getting the nudge on. And again, it's loose and hacked away. And under pressure is Finlay Callahan. He lets it trickle out. But Stirling Wolves must throw in 10 metres from their own line. And that perhaps is what we expected to see from this Glasgow pack. Those fresh legs coming on from Stirling, and perhaps just not quite the same depth that the professional side can bring off that subs bench.
Yeah, that scrum really got on top, didn't it?
22 is good, lads. 22 is good.
Great awareness, Sean Kennedy, just to put that on the boot. Finn Callahan actually does well to shepherd it out, but it does apply pressure onto the Stirling team.
Confident first throw though from Sam Rainey. Glasgow taking them towards the touchline. Davey away. And that one bouncing awkwardly, and it's been taken by McDonald. Now Callahan, the 7 speedster. Glasgow architects of their own downfall again. And there's loads of space in the backfield if Stirling use it. Instead, Jackson floats a lovely ball to McGee, working his way up the touchline. And once again, Stirling Wolves explode into attacking life. Connor Gordon up to the red zone. Jackson tipped on by Ferguson. It might work for Stirling Wolves. Jardine gets his paws on it. Jackson stabbing it over the try line. Cordero would love that to go dead. It won't, and it will be a goal line dropout. And from where they were a minute or so ago, throwing in their own line, Stirling Wolves will be happy enough with that outcome.
Yeah, another excellent box kick, Eric Davey. It bounces on the far side and Stirling win it back. Ben Salmon did really well just on this near side to cover a lot of space. There was a lot of space in this width, and he did really well to tackle Kyle McGee. And we've gone to goal line dropout now. Another opportunity for counter-attack for Stirling.
Kyle McGee watched that ball out and then wants to take it quickly. The Wolves not standing on ceremony despite their leads. Jackson drops it onto the toe. A lot of room in behind, and Jackson tearing after it. The ball, as the rugby ball is wont to do, takes a funny path, but Jackson dribbles it on, and Jackson, has he scored? Oh, it's a try! The Borders answer to Lionel Messi. Craig Jackson tiki-takas his way to another wonderful Wolves try, and that might be the final nail in Glasgow's coffin.
I mean, we've seen Thomas Gordon's try earlier on. I don't know if we'll see one of them again. I don't know if you'll see a try like this again. Just the bounce of the ball, and we've seen a few of them tonight, but Craig Jackson identifies the space. He did it earlier on. He's applied pressure really well, but in that sense of it's more of an attacking kick, and the left winger wasn't in place to chase it, but he's managed to get on it himself. He's turned it back around, and a lovely touch just to keep it in. Another one, and he manages to get it down.
That is remarkable close control from Craig Jackson. It's impressive enough when a professional footballer does it. When a rugby player does it in that position, with a ball that shape, flirting with the touchline, giant defenders bearing down on him. It really is incredible skill. Holden misses by a distance this time, but 20 points. The Stirling Wolves lead. 3 converted tries required for Glasgow now, and this is worth watching over and over and over. Touch and finish from Craig Jackson. Here's Rainey.
Go, Rock.
Davey.
Carried back.
Glenn Bryce. An assured presence in the backfield. Another kick long and on. Jarvie, scarcely mentioned his name in the second half. Ben Salmon, wrapped up by Connor Garden. Tackle just low enough for the referee's liking. Kennedy, clever, really clever, got rid of Adam Woods.
Off your feet, release. Yeah.
And then the penalty goes against Benedict Grant.
Off feet. Yeah, wait on the line. Take the line, lads. Take the line. Take the line. You boys take the line.
Pete Horn peering out from beneath that baseball cap, issuing the instructions. Glasgow are to launch a spectacular rescue operation. It needs to start with a try, and really it needs to start with a try now. Samuel executes the lineouts, and Glasgow start the stampede. Stirling bodies in the way, illegally pulled down, so Glasgow can press the gamble button if they choose. Salmon took it above his head. Really handy young player, Ben Salmon. Kennedy goes wide. McKnight standing up, going forwards. Callahan clings on, puts his head in the spokes. Fraser, Townsend stepping. Glasgow again struggling to make headway. Fraser, that's more like it, much more like it. Kennedy through the hands of Gordon, and we'll need to go all the way back because Kyle McGee had his name up in lights there. Lee, why do you think Glasgow are struggling to find that attacking fluency? Is it just a feature of the fact that this is a group of players who haven't played a lot of competitive rugby together? It's a squad with loads of rotation, players moving in and out from the different franchises. It's maybe hard to generate that cohesion.
Time off.
Yeah, I'd agree, Jamie. I think, look, it's especially in terms of the back line, it's a young back line. They've not played together. I think the majority of these, you know, the little errors, and it's coming from just getting the depth. Sometimes I think, you know, the guys have just been a bit flat through the centres, and you know, when that ball's tugged back, it's on the hip, and I think we've seen that a few times. You know, they're just overrunning the ball a wee bit, and that just comes with playing together. You know, time in the saddle and playing with a man inside and outside, and yeah, I think it's just a product of a team that's kind of been put together. And that's why we're seeing those little errors here and there.
Glasgow need a quick response here. The ball might be their vehicle to get what they desire. Half the team in there, and the try awarded.
16 on the line.
Crabbing towards the touchline.
16, the ball was on the line.
But going forward just enough for Angus Fraser to score. And how Glasgow needed that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jamie, if Glasgow were to have any chance of clawing their way back into this game, they had to score there with 15 minutes left on the clock. And another efficient driving maul we've got here. Gus Fraser at the back there, another Stirling affiliate, and he just manages to get it down in time before he squeezes over into the corner. Glasgow will be keen to get on with this conversion, on with the kick-off, and get themselves back into the game again.
Time ticking away for the Warriors. 11 minutes left. And every point crucial at this stage in the match. And it's across the face from Townsend. And the gap remains a 3-score margin. 15 points the difference.
19.
Angus Fraser somewhere in the middle of that stramash of bodies.
Let's go.
There he is, in less crowded circumstance. Recipient of the famous McPhail Scholarship. Angus Fraser awarded to two of the most promising talents in the Scottish rugby system. And how's that for a shot? You don't get that every night. Sky painted a lovely shade of purple and orange. Beautiful backdrop for what's been a high-octane Super Series Sprint encounter. A little kick over the top. Bryce asks an awful lot of Craig Jackson, with 4 Warriors trampling down on him. Stirling Wolves crying for a high tackle. Holden goes in to take command. Rallies his forwards round the corner. Adam Woods. Glasgow defending with 14. They've got a player down in the backfield. It's like Murphy Walker, who needs some treatment. Stirling go to the skies. Facundo Cordero does really well again. Always seems to evade the first defender. Kennedy. Williamson. Tom Gordon. And that's a good play from McKnight again. Look at the pace of McKnight, wow! Ross McKnight, 6'5", on the rampage. And Glasgow Warriors not done yet.
It's a brilliant line, wasn't it, Ross McKnight? And again, getting up to full pace. He's had a good game, especially in this second half. Max Williamson again with the soft hands, just allowing Glasgow to play that bit wider. Thomas Gordon into the centre. There's a show and go there, but he takes the outside as well, round the covering defender, and it's a classy finish.
Well, looks like a size 3 in one of Ross McKnight's mitts.
Yeah, you take that one off.
Gregor Townsend, I beg your pardon. Christian Townsend quickly took the conversion, drop goal style. 2 more points.
Let's go, guys.
And Glasgow A back within 8. Alex Samuel forcing the field as well, so Glasgow been forced to their bench again. It'll be Harris McLeod who's come on wearing 19. And we're building towards a grandstand finale. Didn't seem likely a few minutes ago, but 2 quick-fire tries from the pro team brought them back into the contest. It's Archie Smeaton rather than McLeod who's come on. There he is, trademark mop of hair flying in many directions. All action style Smeaton. Glasgow will attack from deep through Murphy Walker. Hiddleston probing, keeping those fringe defenders alert. And Glasgow have the penalty, and Kennedy is off and running against the team he coaches. Jarvie against the club he plays for. Again, Glasgow with a pick and drive through Hiddleston. And they're making good yardage with those. Kennedy for Smeaton. Townsend's flat ball for Drummond, and a high shot from Connor Gordon. Just a penalty, no cards for that one, but Glasgow will have the penalty if they need it, and they do, because Sean Kennedy has been cemented. And Glasgow can stick this in the corner again, or if Townsend fancies it, they can cut the gap to within a score.
Okay, he's hit chest, made contact with the head. It's a penalty only. Time on.
Glasgow really riding that wave of momentum at the moment. Off the back of 2 scores, they just really lifted the tempo in the game again. Sean Kennedy probing, passing really well. He's been instrumental since he's come on.
Townsend finds touch. And Glasgow Warriors come again. 6 minutes left. 2 scores required. Trying a penalty would be enough. Trying a drop goal too. They are parking their professional tanks on the Bridgehaugh lawn. Williamson collected that one, and again it's them all. That big Glasgow engine being revved. Stirling Wolves creaking.
Stop once.
They're within 4 metres. One more chance to make it. Fraser over. Try given. And what life has been breathed back into this Super Series contest. What a chance Glasgow have now to pluck this from the fire.
You can see the urgency now within the players. Again, a driving maul. Almost a carbon copy of the last one. Angus Fraser definitely scoring in that same spot. But they get that maul going and they get themselves into the corner. Another score on the board, and it's turned the tables on this game. Looking at the scoreboard, and we're going in with 4.5 minutes left.
3 tries in 6 minutes. 2 of them scored by Angus Fraser. And Townsend from wide on the right. Missed from this position a few minutes ago. This would cut the gap to a point. Started it further to the right this time, but had neither the direction nor the distance. 34-31. 4 minutes left. Stirling 4 minutes from a first home win in nearly a year. How much it would mean to them.
Where you going?
Ray Jackson taking his time over the restart. Every second crucial. Accuracy a must. Who has the nerve and the skill to seize this contest in the dying embers? Glasgow go from deep again. Ben Salmon at the vanguard. Crucial tackle around the ankles. And Glasgow again working through the phases, but Stirling Wolves' hands on that. Benedict Grant's hands on it. The Wolves think they've stolen it back. They have the penalty.
First man legal, 16, straight off his feet.
What a contribution from Benedict Grant. Impressive from start to finish. And the big Kiwi gingerly hauled to his feet after another telling intervention. And we can confirm as well that, as nominated by our broadcast colleagues on BBC Alaba, the wily fly half of the Stirling Wolves, Craig Jackson, is the FOSROC player of the match for tonight. And Jackson arrows the ball into the corner, and Stirling Wolves will want to finish this game now.
That's potentially a match-winning turnover from Benedict Grant there. He's been really impressive throughout the game. I think the way he's used as a link player in his hands, and he's sometimes receiving that ball as a first receiver, but his ability to tip it on, to pass a bit wider, they've really used him in that sense in this game, and he's carried well, and that turnover could be huge in the context of this game.
Stirling Wolves win the lineouts. 2 minutes remaining. Sam Rainey in control at the back. Can they kill off the professionals? Can they find the ruthless touch to secure what would be a famous victory? Glasgow Warriors have cocooned that ball in there, and they will have the scrum. They will have one last chance to win it, albeit from 95 metres.
Taken in by White.
But we've seen already, Lee, they've got the talent and the legs to score from distance.
Yeah, look, left-hand scrum when you're on 22. There'll be a play here that, I don't know if they'll maybe carry off first phase. They're pretty deep in there, but they'll look to play. They need to play, and as you say, Jamie, they need to go the length if they're going to win this match. There's a few dangerous operators out there. I think Cordero's still on the field. He's got a lot of ball of counter-attack tonight, and he's looked sharp with his feet. He's always managed to beat that first defender. I think, you know, he'll be keen to potentially get a bit of a longer run here if scrum can go well, if everything on the inside of him there can go well. But yeah, we were probably saying last roll of the dice here for Warriors.
Harris McLeod is about to be brought on for the last minute of the match. There he is, the big man wearing 19. Another who's come through the national pathway. And another of the Stirling Wolves contingent. We're just waiting to see whether Ewan Ferry is going to be fit to play the last minute and 10 seconds, or whether he is going to be replaced. There is Ferry.
Yeah, sub him. 21 sub.
Yeah, sub is going to be made.
Send him on.
So the substitute is substituted. Ewan Ferry off. So Harris McLeod on.
Time as well, please.
Can't be easily to come on in such a high-pressure situation. A minute and 10 seconds to go.
10 seconds.
Try and remember your roles and do your jobs, because you know one mistake and you're toast.
Yeah, straight into the scrum. I'm sure he'll be all right. Nice to see him get off the bench.
At least he'll be warm.
Time on. Crouch.
60 seconds left.
Bind.
60 seconds for Glasgow.
Time off. Okay. We've had no issues all day. Take the space you need. Don't go head to head. Okay, both sides. See that shoulder out. Time on. Crouch. Bind. Set.
It's all on this for Glasgow.
Advantage.
They've got the penalty advantage.
Penalty advantage if you want.
They have some kind of insurance.
No advantage.
They take the penalty.
Loose head angle.
Penalty count has risen in this second half. 4 in a row conceded by Stirling Wolves. That flow only disrupted by the turnover penalty won by Benedict Grant.
All right.
Again, more walking wounded out there for the Warriors. Angus Fraser, the latest to be feeling the pain of this match. Played at such searing intensity. Townsend didn't have much of an angle to work with. What do you do here, Lee? What's your go-to play?
Oh, still deep in the half here. I mean, normally he'd be looking to play territory in the middle of the field, but there has to be something pulled out the bag, I guess, here.
Pete Horn, the Glasgow coach, is biting his fingernails down to the quick on the bench alongside us. Glasgow told to use it, and they've milked another penalty, so they can piggyback their way downfield due to the Stirling indiscipline. They can gobble up another 30 or 40 metres here. Oh, they've just about made touch, have they? What's the call here? If that was knocked on, the game will be over, but the ball was out first. As Finn Callahan dived to try and keep it in. Watch this. Yeah, it's well over the plane of touch, and you've got to land in the field of play if you do that. So Glasgow, 35 metres out. Nearly 2 minutes into the Reds. It's all on this.
That's 1-9 sideways.
Can they conjure a match-winning moment? The maul remains the weapon of choice. Now they release it. Kennedy for Townsend. Salmon. Facundo Cordero. puts the hammers down, then checks and steps, and then it's knocked on by Angus Fraser. He can't cling on, and Stirling Wolves have done it. And Bridgehaugh sizzles to a crescendo. A famous victory for the Wolves. Technically sound, tactically astute, and intensity through the roof to subdue their professional guests from Scotstoun. The gilded Glasgow Warriors vanquished, their international laden team put to the sword in the shadow of the Wallace Monument. 10 tries, split 5 apiece, and despite the Glasgow revival, the 3 scores in the final 9 minutes of the match, Stirling Wolves withstand. They hold on, they claim a famous and storied Super 6 Sprint victory. It finishes at Bridgehaugh, the first home win in 11 months, and what a win. Stirling Wolves 34, Glasgow Warriors A 31. But what a second half. That was a brilliant contest, and Glasgow Warriors started it with a try from Gregor Hiddleston, created by a Ross McKnight break, and Hiddleston Lee burrowing over from close range.
Yeah, this game ended up coming right down to the wire, didn't it? And if you'd asked us 20 minutes to go, Stirling had dominated the game, but Warriors had done enough to hang in there. They got a couple of quick-fire scores. This was the first of them in that second half, and they really built, you know, tempo and pace throughout that second half that gave them a chance of winning the match in the end.
Stirling fought back though, and they landed a crucial blow through this maul. Captain Raynor Kennedy at the back of it, and matching his younger Stirling rival Hiddleston with a close range effort of his own. Good maul.
Yeah, again set up from some turnover play, taking advantage of the turnover that got them the possession down in the corner there, and Eddie Pollock, as we said, will be happy with that one.
Yep, they're trying to delight the Stirling coaches, and no more so than Eddie Pollock, a former prop himself. This was quick thinking from Kyle McGee to take the quick line out. Craig Jackson dropping it onto the toe. The bouncing ball almost goes backwards, but Craig Jackson dribbles it down the touchline. 2 touches, dive, try. Unbelievable dexterity.
Yeah, I think after seeing the first bounce, he's probably thought, I'll just keep this on the floor now. And he's done it really well. He set up that position with a kick down the right-hand side first, and then to bring it back, they take the quick line out, and just a great bit of skill.
It's so well executed, that try. It looked for all the world that the chance was gone, the ball was heading out, but Jackson's persistence and ability rewarded. Route 1 stuff this from Glasgow Warriors. Angus Fraser with the first of 2 tries in 6 minutes. 3 Glasgow Warrior tries in 6 minutes, 2 of them scored by the hooker. Both pretty similar efforts. The first one flirting with that corner flag, but as Stirling Wolves shunted them towards the touchline, they whirled round Lee and they managed to manufacture an opportunity for Fraser.
Yeah, I think with changes on both teams going into that second half, the Warriors pack just managed to get a wee upper hand in terms of line out maul and in terms of scrum, which, you know, afforded them 2 tries there, and a great piece of build-up play here by Warriors, putting a bit of width on the ball, and Ross McKnight gets free again, and it's a brilliant finish to go around the last defender as well. It really shows an injection of pace.
It's an incredible solo score from Ross McKnight. We talked about him all game, and he saved his most telling moment for near the end, splitting the defence, skirting round the last tackler, swerving under the posts. Such a physically imposing man, but he can move too with it. He carries that bulk so well, and I'm sure we'll see more of him in the seasons ahead. Glasgow scored their 3rd try in quick succession. Another maul, another for Angus Fraser, and at this stage, Lee, the game was anybody's.
Yeah, this is where you could really see the urgency. The boys pick up, and the Warriors boys, you know, ball down in the corner, they're right back there. Angus Fraser knows this field well, and he knows that area of the corner well after tonight as well. He's managed to get 2 tries on the score sheet, but this really set up like a tense last 5 minutes of the match. with that second score, and it just allowed Warriors to have a shot, at least at the win, but Stirling managed to hold on.
Same ball.
So Fraser squeezing his way in the corner to bag his second try. It didn't prove enough though. Not a try, but just as crucial. Benedict Grant, there he is, latching over the ball. He's so quick to reef that ball away, win the turnover, and ultimately it's a Stirling Wolves penalty, and that stopped the Glasgow momentum. It stopped 3 tries perhaps from becoming 4.
It's a short window, isn't it? But he manages just to get there on time and actually pull at the ball as well, which means that when he's cleared out, he's taken the ball with him, and it's a telling turnover.
So 2 games complete, 2 still to go in Super Series Sprint round 3. Massive win for the Wolves, as we've just seen. And the first win of the season too for the Boroughmuir Bears, and that is an upset. Ayrshire Bulls, former champions, vanquished at Megatland. Brilliant result for Graham Shield and his troops, 29-21 it finished in the capital. More action from Edinburgh and Melrose tomorrow, 3 p.m, Heriots Rugby against Watsonians Rugby, and then live on BBC Sports Scotland, the Southern Knights taking on Edinburgh A in their last match of the sprint. For next week's live Friday night match, we're back at Bridgehaugh again. Stirling Wolves buoyed by tonight's fine result, take on the defending sprint champions Watsonians Rugby here in Stirling. So night has fallen at Bridgehaugh, the merest sliver of a moon beginning to beam down upon us, and plenty of beaming smiles in the home ranks. A brilliant win for Stirling Wolves. Glasgow Warriors A bow out of the Super Series Sprints with a nail-biting, nerve-shredding defeat at Bridgehaugh. I hope you enjoyed tonight's game as much as we did commentating on it. We'll see you again for more FOSROC Super Series Sprint action next week. Bye for now.